Okay, so get ready, because we are diving headfirst into Dostoyevsky's The Brothers Karamazov.
Oh, Dostoyevsky.
Yeah, we know, we
A
know.
formidable undertaking for even the most seasoned reader.
It's a beast of a book.
It really is.
But, we're your guides, right?
Absolutely. Consider us your literary Sherpas.
There you go. We'll give you the lay of the land, point out some of the more, shall we say, challenging passages.
The treacherous crevasses, if you will.
And hopefully by the end of this, you'll be like, okay, I can tackle those big Dostoevsky themes. Bring it on.
What's so fascinating about this book, you see, is that Dostoyevsky, he doesn't just craft a family drama, although what a drama it is.
Oh, tell me about it.
It's more than that. It's a crucible. He uses it to explore the very core of human nature, our desires, our failings, the age-old battle between faith and doubt.
Yeah, it's like somebody took like a soap opera and then said, okay, Plato, rewrite this.
Precisely.
So let's meet our cast of characters. We've got Fyodor Pavlovich Karamazov, the patriarch, a man of appetites. Let's just say that.
That's putting it mildly.
Yeah, appetites as large as his capacity for cruelty. And then, of course, you've got his sons, Dmitri, passionate Dmitri, always like one step away from just combusting.
A live wire, that one.
Even cynical intellect. He sees the world through skeptical eyes. You know what I'm saying? Alyosha, the younger brother, devoutly religious. You wonder, like, did he get raised in the same family as these other guys?
An enigma, that one.
Yeah, and then, lurking in the shadows, we have Smerdyakovh, the illegitimate son, always simmering with, well, we'll get there.
Oh, yes. Smerdyakovh, a
Yeah.
shadow cast over the entire narrative.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, it's fascinating how Dostoevsky crafts these characters, almost like archetypes. You have Dmitri, utterly consumed by his passions, and then you have Ivan, ruled by cold, hard logic.
Right, fire and ice.
Precisely. And then there's Alyosha, this beacon of faith and compassion, you might think.
Yeah, but see, this is the thing about Dostoevsky. You think you have him pegged, right? This Alyosha, this pious, gentle soul. And then Dostoevsky throws in this little detail, almost casually,
Oh, I see what you're talking about.
just hints that maybe there's something more complex going on beneath the surface.
A depth that's easily overlooked.
It's like Dostoevsky's whispering to the reader, like, don't be so quick to judge. Nothing is as it seems.
And this intricate layering of character is not exclusive to the brothers. Dostoevsky's female characters, they're far from just love interests. Take Grushenka, for instance. Alluring, undeniably, but there's a fierce independence there.
Oh, she's not just a pretty face.
Not at all. She disrupts the power dynamics, refuses to be a pawn in their game.
She's the one holding the chessboard, calling the shots.
Indeed. And then you have Katerina Ivanovna, Dmitri's fiancée. She's an embodiment of self-sacrificing love.
Almost painful to witness the lengths she'll go to for Dmitri.
You almost want to shake her and say he's not worth it.
Right. But that's the thing, isn't it? That's what makes her so compelling.
Dostoevsky's genius is in those complexities.
It's this whole tangled web of relationships, this like deep dive into what it means to be human that makes The Brothers Karamazov more than just a story, you know?
It's a philosophical exploration disguised as a gripping narrative.
But to really untangle it all, we got to start with the characters, right?
Mhm.
And the simmering tensions that connect them.
And it all begins, of course, with Fyodor Pavlovich, the father, described as wicked and sensual.
Yeah, and those aren't just words on a page.
No, they're borne out in his actions, his treatment of others, particularly his wives.
A trail of broken hearts.
A man driven by base desires.
And it's interesting, isn't it, how he's always drawn to women described as having this like innocent appearance.
Yes.
It's like Dostoevsky's highlighting the depths of his depravity. It's not just indulging in vice. It's like he wants to corrupt innocence itself.
A chilling thought.
And that darkness, it spills over into his relationships with his sons, especially Dmitri.
Locked in a constant power struggle.
Resentment, money, rivalry over Grushenka. It's a recipe for disaster.
And Dmitri, he's a powder keg waiting to explode.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of Dmitri, he is like a tightly wound spring, always on the verge of snapping. He's passionate, sure, but impulsive.
Prone to outbursts, wouldn't you say?
Big time. But beneath all that volatility, there's this deep well of pain, you know, stemming from his father's neglect. And this yearning for love, it's palpable.
Dostoevsky's grasp of human psychology is unparalleled.
Oh, absolutely.
Dmitri, he isn't just impulsive, he's a man torn. On the one hand, his baser instincts and on the other, this yearning for redemption.
Yeah, capable of great love and shocking violence.
A living contradiction.
Exactly, which is what makes him such a fantastic character.
One of literature's most compelling figures.
Totally. Now contrast that with Alyosha, the youngest. If Dmitri's fire, Alyosha's water.
Calm, compassionate, deeply rooted in his faith.
Yeah, he seeks solace in the monastery, guidance from his elder, Father Zosima.
A stark contrast to the turmoil that engulfs his brothers.
Right. But even with Alyosha, this pure soul, Dostoyevsky plants these seeds of doubt, like a reminder that none of us are immune to the complexities of being human.
No one is exempt from the human condition, not even the most devout. It's what makes Dostoyevsky such a master. He gives us these characters and you think, okay, I've got them figured out. They represent this, that, or the other. But then he subtly undermines those easy categories, those moral judgments.
He's like, nope, people are far more complicated than that.
Exactly. We're messy, paradoxical creatures.
Totally. It's like he's holding up a mirror to the reader.
Oh, I like that.
And saying, look closer. What's lurking beneath the surface of your own carefully constructed beliefs?
Are you as righteous as you think you are? As rational as you believe?
Right. And no character embodies this tension more, this wrestling match between reason and faith, than Ivan, the middle brother.
Ivan, the philosopher, the cynic, the doubter.
Yeah. He picks apart the world with his intellect, questions everything, especially the existence of God. Like, if there is a God, how can there be so much suffering in the world?
It's the age-old question, isn't it?
It really is. And you get the sense that Ivan is genuinely troubled by it. Like, this isn't just intellectual posturing. He's wrestling with some real demons.
Oh, absolutely. It's as if he's staring into the abyss, and the abyss is staring right back.
And what's scary is he doesn't look away.
No, he leans in, embraces the darkness and the nihilism, and you're left wondering, is this a form of self-destruction or a perverse acceptance of the absurdity of it all?
It's heavy stuff.
It is.
And what's even more unnerving is how Dostoyevsky doesn't shy away from exploring the potential consequences of Ivan's nihilism.
Because lurking in the shadows, we have Smerdyakov.
Right. Smerdyakov, the illegitimate son, he's like this sponge soaking up all the darkness, the resentment, the cynicism.
He's a fascinating character to consider because it's easy to dismiss him, to say, oh, he's just resentful, he's been marginalized by this family.
Yeah, he's got his reasons.
But Dostoyevsky is too clever for that, too insightful.
He's always got another layer, doesn't he?
He does. Because Smerdyakov becomes almost a grotesque reflection of Ivan's philosophy. Like he takes Ivan's nihilistic pronouncements, this idea that without God, everything is permitted, and he embodies them.
He lives them out.
Precisely. And it raises these uncomfortable questions, doesn't it?
Yeah, like how much are we shaped by our circumstances? How much choice do we really have?
And is Smerdyakov a puppet or a puppeteer?
Right. Is he being manipulated or is he manipulating everyone around him? It's Dostoyevsky, so, good luck figuring it out.
It's a puzzle, to be sure. But to truly understand the dynamics of this family, these simmering tensions that ultimately erupt in violence, we have to see them interact.
Oh, yeah. It's one thing to describe Dmitri as impulsive, to list his character traits, right? But it's another thing entirely to witness him bursting into his father's house, drunk, enraged, demanding money, threatening violence. Dostoyevsky doesn't just tell us, he shows us.
He throws them all in a room together and lets the sparks fly.
And those scenes, they're electric,
Like that scene at the monastery. You have Alyosha seeking guidance from Father Zosima, and what does he walk into?
Family brawl.
A complete meltdown.
Fyodor Pavlovich at his manipulative best. Dmitri one wrong word away from clocking someone. And Ivan watching it all unfold with this detached amusement that's almost cruel.
He's above it all, or so he thinks.
Yeah, and amidst all that chaos, you have Alyosha, the peacemaker, desperately trying to calm everyone down, live up to Father Zosima's teachings. But even he can't stop the inevitable explosion. It's like watching a train wreck in slow motion.
You know you can't look away, even though you know what's coming.
Exactly. And we'd be remiss if we didn't mention the women in all of this, right?
Absolutely not.
Because they are not just passive players in this drama. They challenge the men, expose their hypocrisy, and become catalysts for both their greatest joys and their deepest sorrows.
It's impossible to overstate the role they play in this unfolding drama.
Grushenka especially, she walks into this viper's nest of testosterone, this patriarchal power structure, and she turns it upside down.
She's a force of nature.
She's not afraid to use her beauty, her wit, her, let's be honest, her cunning.
Oh, she's strategic.
Big time. She pits these men against each other, reveals their jealousies, their need for control.
And in doing so, she exposes the fragility of their masculinity.
She's the embodiment of Dostoyevsky's refusal to put women in a box. You know, she's alluring, but she's also calculating. Vulnerable, yet manipulative. She's a survivor in a world that seeks to exploit her.
And she refuses to apologize for it.
Not one bit. And then you have Katerina Ivanovna. On the surface, she seems to represent a more traditional kind of femininity, devoted to Dmitri, willing to endure anything for him.
The epitome of self-sacrifice, you might think.
But Dostoyevsky gives her this quiet strength, a refusal to be defined solely by her relationship with a man.
It's there in the way she interacts with Dmitri.
Right.
She challenges him, refuses to be passive.
Yeah. She loves him, but she demands respect.
Recognition of her own inherent worth.
And when he inevitably betrays her, oh man, her heartbreak.
It's palpable.
It's so raw.
But there's a righteous anger there, too, a refusal to be anyone's fool.
Exactly. And it's through these women, maybe even more so than through the men, that Dostoyevsky forces us to confront some really uncomfortable truths about desire, power, and the messiness of human relationships. It's like Dostoyevsky creates this pressure cooker of emotions, love, hate, guilt, simmering resentment, and then boom.
He drops the match.
The murder of Fyodor Pavlovich. Talk about a turning point.
And of course, it's not just a simple whodunit, right? Dostoyevsky's not content with just a murder mystery.
No. This is Dostoyevsky we're talking about.
The murder, it's like an earthquake. It shatters these facades, these carefully constructed identities the characters have built around themselves. Suddenly, we see them for who they really are.
And nowhere is this more apparent than in the trial.
Oh, the trial.
It becomes this stage, right?
Stays for the soul.
Where all their inner turmoil, those conflicting desires, those justifications, they're all laid bare.
It's almost Shakespearean, wouldn't you say?
Oh, totally. It's like Dostoyevsky's putting justice itself on trial. Morality, truth, the whole shebang.
And within that framework, he stages this clash of ideologies.
Like he's throwing different philosophies in the ring and saying, okay, duke it out.
You have Ivan, for instance, delivering that chilling speech about a world without God.
Oh, man, that speech.
It sends shivers down your spine.
It's like he's dissecting the very foundations of morality. If there is no God, then, well, anything goes, right?
It's a terrifying thought. And you're left wondering, is Ivan really a nihilist? Does he truly believe what he's saying?
Or is it all just a defense mechanism? You know, a way to distance himself from the horror of it all.
A shield against the unbearable weight of existence.
And then you have Katerina Ivanovna. Oh, Katerina Ivanovna. Torn between her love for Dmitri and this desperate need for justice.
And the letter.
Oh, don't even get me started on the letter.
And the letter, where Dmitri, in a drunken haze, practically confesses.
It's like she's trying to both condemn him and save him at the same time.
It's heartbreaking, really. Dostoyevsky, at his most insightful, he captures that agonizing push and pull of love and betrayal.
Absolutely. And just when you think the drama couldn't get any more intense, you have Fyodor, Dmitri's defense attorney.
Ah, Fyodor, a master manipulator.
Oh, he's good. He takes the same evidence, the same facts, and somehow he twists them. He plays on the jury's emotions, their prejudices.
He blurs the lines between truth and falsehood.
It's like watching a magic show. You know he's playing tricks, but you can't help but be amazed by it.
And yet, despite Fetyukovich's eloquence, despite the questions surrounding Smerdykov's role, Dmitri is found guilty.
Which, let's be honest, we kind of saw coming, right?
It feels inevitable, and yet deeply, deeply unjust.
Classic Dostoyevsky.
It's a reminder that life rarely offers clear-cut resolutions.
And in the aftermath of the trial, we see the characters grapple with the consequences of their choices. Katerina Ivanovna, racked with guilt, pledges her support to Dmitri. She's going to follow him to Siberia.
It's a testament to the enduring power of love, even in the face of betrayal and despair.
And Alyosha, bless his heart.
He clings to hope.
He really does. That belief in redemption, in the inherent goodness of humanity, even when surrounded by darkness, he still sees the light.
He embodies that persistent hope that Dostoyevsky, even in his darkest moments, never quite extinguishes.
That's the thing about the brothers Karamazov, isn't it? It's messy, it's complicated, it's full of contradictions, just like life itself.
It's not a comfortable read, but it's an important one. It stays with you, makes you question everything, your beliefs, your assumptions about the world, about yourself.
It's a journey, that's for sure. And we've only just scratched the surface here, but hopefully we've given you some food for thought.
Some provocative questions to ponder.
Exactly. Because The Brothers Karamazov, it's not just a book you read, it's an experience.
It's a descent into the depths of the human spirit.
And who knows, you might even discover something about yourself along the way.